The moment my daughter was born, my husband looked down at her, then looked me straight in the eye and said, "She's not mine. I don't know who you've been with, but that's not my child." He walked out of the delivery room without looking back, and I never saw him again. Until 17 years later, when he showed up at my door, desperate and broken, begging for a second chance. Let me back up. My name is Maya Rodriguez, and this is the story of how I survived the worst betrayal of my life, raised an incredible daughter on my own, and learned that sometimes karma has perfect timing. I met Brandon Hayes when I was 23, working as a line cook at an upscale fusion restaurant in Seattle. He came in with business associates one evening, and I happened to be covering the expo station that night. He complimented the chef on a dish I'd actually created, and my boss, being the kind of person he was, immediately gave me credit. Brandon asked to meet me. He was handsome, successful, charming. He worked in commercial real estate for his family's firm, Hayes Property Group. They owned half the buildings in downtown Seattle. I was a chef working 60-hour weeks, living in a studio apartment with 2 roommates. We came from completely different worlds, but he pursued me relentlessly. "I don't care about any of that," he'd say when I pointed out our differences. "You're brilliant, you're passionate, you're real. Everyone in my world is fake." We dated for 2 years. I met his family exactly 3 times. His mother, Patricia Hayes, made her feelings crystal clear from the first meeting. She smiled at me with cold eyes and said, "How charming. Brandon's always had such eclectic tastes." She made eclectic sound like an insult. His father was more direct. "Our family has certain expectations," he told Brandon within my earshot. "Think about your future." But Brandon insisted none of it mattered. He proposed on my 25th birthday, on the rooftop of the restaurant where we'd met. I said yes, despite the voice in my head warning me this was a mistake. The wedding was small. His family attended but barely spoke to my family. My mom, who'd raised 3 kids on her own after my dad left, wore her best dress and held her head high. Brandon's mother wore a suit that probably cost more than our entire wedding. I got pregnant 4 months after we married. Brandon seemed happy at first, excited even. But then his mother started visiting more often. I'd hear them talking in hushed voices. She'd leave, and he'd look at me differently. "Are you sure about the timing?" he asked one day. "What do you mean?" "Nothing. Just, are you sure it's mine?" The question felt like a slap. "Are you seriously asking me that? My mother just thinks." "Your mother thinks what, Brandon? That I trapped you? That I'm some gold digger?" He didn't answer, which was answer enough. The pregnancy got harder. I was having complications, forced to bed rest in my 3rd trimester. Brandon worked longer hours, came home later. His mother's visits increased. I'd hear her voice from the bedroom. "It's not too late to protect yourself. Get a paternity test. Protect your assets." I confronted him. "If you have doubts, let's do a DNA test. Right now, I have nothing to hide." "I don't need a test," he said coldly. "I trust you." But he didn't. I could see it in his eyes every time he looked at me. When I went into labor, it was 3 weeks early. Brandon met me at the hospital, but his mother arrived within an hour. She stayed in the waiting room like a vulture. Isabella came into the world at 6:47 p.m. on a rainy Seattle evening, weighing 6 pounds, 2 ounces. She was perfect, beautiful, healthy, and she had darker skin than either of us. I'm Latina, but fair-skinned. My grandmother was Afro-Latina, something I'd told Brandon many times. Genetics are complex, unpredictable. My daughter was a perfect blend of my family's heritage. But Brandon didn't see that. He saw what his mother had planted in his head. The nurse placed Bella in my arms, and I looked at her with pure love. Then I looked up at Brandon, expecting to see the same. Instead, I saw his face harden. He stared at Bella, then at me. "She doesn't look like me," he said quietly. "Brandon, she's a newborn. She barely looks like anyone yet." "No." His voice got louder. "She doesn't look like me because she's not mine. Brandon, please. I don't know who you've been sleeping with, Maya, but that's not my child." He stood up, backing away from the bed. "I'm not doing this. I'm not raising some other man's kid. Brandon, listen to me. Do you remember I told you about my grandmother? About my family heritage? This is genetics. This is your daughter. Don't lie to me." He was shouting now. "I've been an idiot. My mother was right. You got pregnant to trap me. And now you're trying to pass off someone else's baby as mine. Then do the DNA test. I was crying now, holding my newborn daughter. Please, Brandon. Just do the test. I'm begging you. I don't need a test to know the truth, he said coldly. I can see it with my own eyes. You cheated on me, and that's the result. He pulled out his wallet, took out a check, and threw it on the bed. $10,000. Take it, get an apartment somewhere, and don't contact me again. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce. Brandon, please, we're done. Don't call me. Don't come to the house. I don't want to see either of you again. He walked out. Just like that. The nurse stood frozen in the doorway, shocked. I held my baby and sobbed. His mother appeared in the doorway moments later. She looked at Bella with disgust, then at me with satisfaction. I knew you were wrong for him, she said. At least he came to his senses before it was too late. This is your granddaughter, I whispered. That is no relation of mine. She turned and left. I never cashed that check. I framed it and hung it in my kitchen. A reminder that I didn't need his money then, and I wouldn't need it ever. The divorce was fast and brutal. Brandon's lawyers were ruthless. He signed away all parental rights. He wanted nothing to do with Bella. When the paperwork came requesting a DNA test for the divorce proceedings, I agreed immediately. Brandon refused to participate. The court can't force him if he's willingly terminating his rights, my legal aid lawyer explained. He's essentially admitting he doesn't want to know. So there was never a test, never proof. Just his assumptions and his mother's racism. I moved into a tiny one-bedroom apartment in the cheaper part of town. I went back to work when Bella was 8 weeks old, my mom watching her during my shifts. The restaurant work was grueling, but I was good at it. I moved up from line cook to sous chef within 2 years. Bella grew up in restaurant kitchens. She'd sit in a high chair in the office while I worked, coloring while I prepped. The staff adored her. By the time she was 5, she was helping us make staff meals, stirring pots under careful supervision. Mommy, I want to be a chef like you, she'd say, her eyes bright. You can be anything you want, me Amor. She excelled at everything. School came easy to her. She tested into the gifted program in 3rd grade. But her real passion was always food. She'd watch cooking shows, experiment with recipes, create elaborate meals from whatever we had in the pantry. When she was 12, she started a food blog. Just simple recipes at first, things a kid could make. But her personality shone through. Her photos were artistic, her writing was charming. Within a year, she had 10,000 followers. At 14, she won a local young chef competition. The prize included a scholarship to a summer culinary program. She came home glowing. Mommy, they said I have real talent. Like, professional talent. I'd worked my way up to head chef at a different restaurant by then. We'd moved to a 2-bedroom apartment, nothing fancy, but it was ours. I'd never remarried, never even seriously dated. My focus was my daughter and my career. When Bella turned 16, her food blog had grown to over 100,000 followers. Companies started reaching out for sponsorships. I had to help her set up a business account, navigate contracts. She was making more money from her blog than I'd made at her age. I want to apply to culinary school, she told me. The Culinary Institute. It's in New York, but Mommy, it's the best. Then you'll apply, I said. And you'll get in. She did. Early acceptance, plus a partial scholarship based on her portfolio. We cried together when the letter came. That's when Brandon's mother showed up at my restaurant. I was in the middle of a busy dinner service when my sous chef came to find me. Chef, there's a woman asking to speak to you. Says it's urgent. Well, she looks rich and angry. I wiped my hands and went to the dining room. Patricia Hayes sat at a corner table, looking as cold and elegant as I remembered. Mrs. Hayes, I said evenly. This is unexpected. We need to talk. Privately. I led her to my office. She looked around at the cramped space with barely concealed disdain. I'll get straight to the point, she said. Our family is in a difficult position. The real estate market has shifted, and we've made some poor investments. We're facing significant financial trouble. I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't see what that has to do with me. Brandon is struggling. The divorce from his second wife was expensive. He's drinking too much. He's made poor decisions. She paused. He's been talking about Isabella. My blood ran cold. Excuse me? He's seen her social media. Her blog. He knows who she is, what she's accomplished. Patricia's face twisted. He wants to reach out to her. Absolutely not. I agree. Which is why I'm here. She leaned forward. I'll pay you. $50,000. Keep her away from him. Don't let her respond if he contacts her. He's in a vulnerable place right now, and I don't want him making any more mistakes. I stood up. Get out of my restaurant. Excuse me? You heard me. Get out. You can't buy me, Mrs. Hayes. You couldn't 17 years ago, and you can't now. And if Brandon wants to reach out to his daughter, the daughter he abandoned, the daughter he denied without even bothering to verify the truth, then that's between him and her. She's 17 years old. She's smart enough to make her own decisions. You're making a mistake. No, Mrs. Hayes. I made a mistake 17 years ago when I married your son. But I got the best thing in my life out of that mistake. Now leave. She left, but her visit shook me. I told Bella everything that night. We'd always been honest with each other. She knew her father had left, knew the story, but I'd never told her about his mother's racism, about the real reason he'd refused to believe she was his. He thought I wasn't his because of how I looked, she asked quietly. Yes. Because Abuela's Afro-Latina heritage showed up in me? Yes. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "What an idiot." Despite myself, I laughed. I'm serious, Mommy. What kind of person doesn't understand basic genetics? And even if he had doubts, he could have done a DNA test. He chose not to. He chose to believe the worst about you. He chose to walk away. She looked at me with fierce eyes. I don't need a father who didn't want me. You might feel differently if he reaches out. Maybe. But you raised me to know my worth. And I'm worth more than someone who only shows up when it's convenient. 2 weeks later, Brandon showed up at our apartment. I opened the door and there he was. 17 years older, looking worn and tired. His hair was graying at the temples. He'd gained weight. His expensive suit couldn't hide the fact that he looked defeated. Maya, he said. Please. I need to talk to you. No, please. Just 5 minutes. I've been trying to reach you. I know. Your mother came to see me. She told me. Look, I know I don't deserve to be here. I know I have no right to ask you for anything. But please. I need to talk to Isabella. Her name is Bella. And no, you don't get to talk to her. She's my daughter. You signed away that right 17 years ago. You denied her. You refused to even verify the truth. You just believed what you wanted to believe and walked away. I was wrong. God, Maya, I was so wrong. I've been following her on social media. She's incredible, she's talented and smart and beautiful, and I threw that away. I threw both of you away. Yes, you did. I want to make it right. You can't. You can't make up for 17 years. You can't undo the damage. You can't give her back all the moments you missed. First steps, first words, first day of school, first heartbreak. You missed all of it. By choice. I know. But I'm asking for a chance. Please, Maya. I'm begging you. Bella appeared in the doorway behind me. She'd been listening. Let him in, Mommy, she said quietly. Bella. Let him in. I want to hear what he has to say. I stepped aside. Brandon looked at his daughter, really looked at her for the first time since she was born. You look like your grandmother, he said softly. Maya's grandmother. I remember now. She was in the photos at your wedding. Her name was Isabella, Bella said. I was named after her. You're beautiful. I know. My mother tells me every day. There was no warmth in her voice. What do you want? I want to apologize. I want to explain. There's nothing to explain. You thought I wasn't yours because I didn't look white enough. You believed that before you even met me. You refused to do a DNA test because you'd already decided the truth. And then you walked away and never looked back. She crossed her arms. Is that about right? I was wrong. I was stupid and wrong, and I've regretted it every day since. Have you? Bella's voice was sharp. Because, according to your mother, you got remarried. Had that life falling apart too. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been staying to meet your daughter. Fair would have been doing the DNA test and learning the truth. Fair would have been apologizing 17 years ago. Not now when it's convenient. She paused. Why now? Why show up now? He looked ashamed. Because I saw what you've accomplished. Because I realized what I threw away. So you're here because I'm successful? Because I'm about to go to a prestigious culinary school? Because I have a following online? Bella laughed bitterly. What if I'd been ordinary? Would you have stayed away then? No, that's not. Yes, it is. Be honest, at least. You're here because you finally see value in me. Not because you love me. You don't even know me. You're here because you regret losing the connection to someone successful. The silence was deafening. My family's business is struggling, he finally admitted. We've lost clients. We're facing bankruptcy. And I've been thinking. Isabella has such a following. She's connected to the restaurant industry, the food world. I thought maybe. Get out, I said. Maya, get out of my house right now. Wait, please. You came here because you want something from her? Because you think she can help save your family business? The family that rejected her? That rejected me? I was shaking with rage. You have some nerve. I deserve that. I know I do. But I'm desperate. The business was my father's legacy, and I've ruined it. My mother is about to lose everything. I've lost everything. My second marriage, my money, my reputation. And I just thought, maybe if I could reconnect with my daughter. I'm not your daughter, Bella said flatly. You made that clear 17 years ago. You don't get to claim me now because it's useful. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't change anything. Sorry doesn't give me back a father. Sorry doesn't erase the fact that my mom worked 60-hour weeks to support me while you lived in luxury and forgot I existed. Her voice broke. Sorry doesn't fix this. I know. But I'm asking for a chance anyway. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm asking. Bella looked at me. I saw the tears in her eyes, the conflict. Part of her, the part that was still a little girl who wondered about her father, wanted to say yes. I could see it. Not now, she said finally. Maybe not ever. But if, and this is a huge if, I ever decide to let you into my life, it won't be to help your business. It won't be because you're useful to me. It'll be because you prove that you actually care about me as a person. As your daughter. Not as a tool. How do I prove that? I don't know. That's your problem to figure out. But I can tell you this, I have a mother who never left. Who worked herself to exhaustion to give me opportunities. Who believed in me when no one else did. You'll have to earn even a fraction of what she's given me. And I'm not sure you're capable of that. Brandon left. But he didn't give up. Over the next 6 months, he tried. He started going to therapy, and he shared the receipts to prove it. He wrote letters not asking for anything, just telling Bella about himself, his regrets, his journey. He sent flowers on her birthday with a card that said, I missed 17 of these. I'm sorry. He showed up at her culinary school showcase when she was accepted, standing in the back of the room. He didn't approach her, didn't make a scene. He just watched her shine, then left. He was there, she told me that night. At the showcase, I know. I saw him. He didn't try to talk to me. No. He respected your boundaries. She was quiet. Do you think people can change, Mommy? I think people can try. Whether they succeed is another question. When Bella left for New York for culinary school, Brandon sent a package. Inside was a leather-bound journal and a note, for all the recipes you'll create. I'm proud of you, even if I don't have the right to be. Bella called me crying. I don't know what to feel. You don't have to know. You're allowed to be confused. You're allowed to be angry and curious and hurt all at once. Do you hate him? I thought about it. No. I did, for a long time. But now I just feel sad. Sad for what could have been. Sad for the time he wasted. Sad that his pride and his mother's racism cost him 17 years with an incredible daughter. Would you ever forgive him? I already have, in my own way. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean trusting him again or wanting him in my life. It just means I'm not letting his choices poison my happiness anymore. I paused. But your relationship with him is separate from mine. You get to decide what forgiveness means for you. Bella's freshman year at culinary school, Brandon's mother passed away. Heart attack, sudden. Brandon reached out to tell Bella himself before she saw it in the news. I know you never knew her, he wrote. And I know she treated you and your mother terribly. But she was still your grandmother and I thought you should know. Bella sent flowers to the funeral. She didn't attend, but she sent flowers with a card that said, "For the grandmother I never got to know." Brandon called her afterward. They talked for 20 minutes. It was the first real conversation they'd had. After that, they talked occasionally. Once a month, maybe. Brief conversations. Bella would tell him about school, her classes, the restaurant where she was doing her internship. He would tell her about therapy, about trying to rebuild his life, about selling off assets to pay debts. "I'm working as a property manager now," he told her. "For someone else's company. It's humbling. But I'm learning that I'd built my whole identity on my family's money and status. Without that, I didn't know who I was." "Who are you now?" Bella asked. "I'm still figuring that out, but I'm trying to be someone who deserves to know you." It wasn't a fairy tale reconciliation. It wasn't happily ever after. Bella didn't call him dad. She didn't invite him to family dinners or introduce him to her friends as her father. But slowly, carefully, she let him exist on the periphery of her life. A phone call now and then. A coffee meeting when she was home for breaks. Small steps. "I'm not doing this for him," she told me. "I'm doing it for me. Because I need to know I gave him a fair chance. Because I don't want to wonder what if for the rest of my life." "That's very mature of you. I learned from the best." She hugged me. "You could have poisoned me against him. You could have refused to let him see me. But you let me make my own choice. You're my daughter. You're smart and strong and capable of making your own decisions. Even the hard ones." On Bella's 19th birthday, Brandon showed up with a gift. It was a framed photo, the only one he had of me pregnant, from before everything fell apart. We looked happy. Young and naive and hopeful. "I found it when I was packing up my mother's house," he said. "I thought you should have it. Both of you." "Why?" Bella asked. "Because no matter how badly I messed up, you were wanted. You were loved. Your mother loved you from the moment she knew about you. And I did too, before I let fear and prejudice destroy everything." He looked at me. "I'm sorry, Maya. For all of it. For not believing you. For not fighting for you. For letting my mother's poison infect my mind. For throwing away the best thing that ever happened to me." "You threw away two of the best things," I corrected quietly. "I know. And I can't make it right. But I can spend the rest of my life trying to be better. Trying to be someone you both can eventually be proud of, even if it's just a little bit." Bella looked at the photo for a long time. Then she said, "Thank you for this. And thank you for trying. I don't know if we'll ever have a normal father-daughter relationship. Too much time has passed. Too much damage was done. But maybe we can have something. Something small and honest and real. That's more than I deserve, probably. But I'm not doing it for what you deserve. I'm doing it because it's what I need." That check Brandon gave me 17 years ago still hangs in my kitchen. I never took it down. It's a reminder of where I started, and how far I've come. A reminder that I didn't need his money, didn't need his validation, didn't need him to build a beautiful life. But sometimes, when Bella's home and Brandon's name comes up, I think about taking it down. Not because I've forgiven him completely, or because everything's perfect now. But because maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop living with that reminder of pain on my wall. Maybe it's time to make space for something new. Not forgetting, but moving forward. Bella tells me I should keep it up. "It's part of our story, Mommy. The hard part. The part where you were strong enough to survive his betrayal and raise me alone. Don't erase that. So it stays. A testament to survival. To strength. To the fact that sometimes the people who walk away aren't the ones who get to write the ending. We do."